That's why you have the time machine to begin with. Repeat, learn, repeat, learn. In my eyes, since you have like the time machine and we can basically turn back time like 2 days, you have plenty of time to just study what Kurisu is doing to create that time machine, so that you not only give Kurisu like a helping hand in creating the time machine faster, but you yourself will learn to be an actual scientist and know to create a time machine yourself, you know, and that would be quite advantageous, especially as a future terrorist and all that. I'm just saying. The only thing I can do is help Suzuha find her father.
もしかして近年中に作られるピンバッジなんだろうか。まだできていないとか。
I mean, that is a possibility. Suzuha stretches, then looks at me with a calm smile.
やっぱさ、父さんとは会えない運命なんだって。こんだけ探してもないんだから、もう無理無理。全然無理だね。
全然ダメだ! I feel a surge of anger at her words. No, that's wrong! Here you are, I'm stewing and self-loathing, and she acts like it doesn't matter.
諦めるのか。まだあと1日残っているぞ。
何怒ってんの？
みんなお前のためを思って頑張っているのだと分かっているのか。俺だってマユリを助けることを何より優先したいんだ。それでもお前はラボメンであり仲間だ。その仲間が困っているから助けたい。そんなマユリの気持ちを汲んでこうして探しているのに、お前が真っ先に諦めてどうする。
怒鳴んないでよ。
あまり俺を萎えさせるな。
I tell myself to calm down. This is just my own feelings of impotence boiling over. Yeah, a little bit of that anger from before, powerlessness that you were thinking of, that boiled over this conversation with her. There's no time for this.
悪かったよ。でも君さ、言い方が上から目線すぎると思うよ。
I realize that we have an audience. Some pedestrians are grinning at us, like they think we're a bickering couple or something. I take a deep breath.
言い過ぎたのなら謝る。
It's too awkward to make eye contact, so I look around, pretending to think.
さて、これからどうするか。
I wonder how the other lab members are progressing. I'm especially concerned about Daru. Depending on the situation, he might need some relief. He's been working in that heat for hours, so we should bring him something cold to drink. I mean, yeah, like inside something like that, metallic, you know? Everybody knows how hot it can be like inside a car, you know? If there's like sun going inside, like the trap door as well, too, to boot. And then there's Mayuri. She's been working alone, trying to find some information on Suzuha's father. If I close my eyes, I can still recall her deaths in every detail. I resist the urge to pound my head against the wall. Although we still have over 24 hours before that happens, I can't help but worry about leaving her alone. But currently, all I can do is search for that pin. We decide to try Ikebukuro as our last stop for today. It would be nice to visit home, but I don't have time, and besides, Suzuha's with me. Our search turns up nothing. As the evening wears on without a single lead, Suzuha and I grow quieter and quieter. We are exhausted from walking, and we can't shake the feeling that all of our efforts are futile. Yeah, this isn't good.
そういえば
I try stirring up a conversation. I should get her to talk about the future. After all, she is a time traveler, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I remember how shocked Kuriso was to learn that she only lives to be 44. And I was told that I'd become a terrorist.
2036年では 俺は本当に有名なのか？
テロリストとしてね。
そうか。
Okay, well, but what do you mean by terrorist? What is the nature of Rintaro being a terrorist?
それで俺は一体どんなテロ行為を？
セルンに反逆したの。君はさ、私が所属してたレジスタンスの設立メンバーの一人だったんだよ。私の父さんと同じくね。
Okay. I have found a resistance. I guess it makes sense, given what we're going through now. Suzuha is from the future to this timeline, where Mayuri is doomed to die. And where CERN forces Chris to build a time machine. In such a future, how could I not rebel against CERN? Rebellion against the system, destruction of order, a new age of chaos. It's what you wanted from the start, Rintaro! Weren't those my ambitions as a mad scientist?
くだらない。
くだらない？
マユリを助けることもできず、のうのうと生き続けた挙句に、そんな中二病みたいな真似をしているなんてな。
世界に自由を取り戻そうとする勇敢で立派な志だと思うけど。
Suzuha is part of the resistance I formed. Does that mean that she's my subordinate in the future?
俺はどんな男だった？
Suzuha's expression darkens.
だから、私は会ったことないって言ったでしょ？
Yeah, but you probably seen him in the news or something.
そうだったか。
うん。君はさ、セルンに殺されたの。2025年に。
So Rintaro dies before Kurisu. That's like 15 years in the future. I was killed by the same people who killed Mayuri. They had no reservations about murdering an innocent girl. I doubt they would hesitate to kill a terrorist.
もっと早く教えとくべきだったかも。
Wait, so I guess so. Like even if Rintaro dies in 2025, his mark in the world was so big that they still talk about him as one of the most important people in the resistance in 2036. 11 years in the future. That's huge, Rintaro. Whatever it is that you did.
わかるでしょ？未来を変えないとさ、君はあと15年で死んじゃうんだ。椎名真由里も助からない。君も助からない。牧瀬クリスは無理やりセルンに協力させられてる。ラボメンはみんな不幸になってるんだ。
What about Daru? Like, nobody has said anything about Daru's future. Does he have like any important role in all this?
ダルは？
Yeah.
彼の名前は聞いたことないな。ウィザード級ハッカーの伝説っていうのはちらっと聞いたことがあるけどね。
Sounds like him.
そもそもウィザード級ってどういう意味なのかすら知らないけど。
You don't really have video games in the future, do you? Wizard class. I coined that term. Or, like, you know, even not even video games, like D&D or hell, not even fantasy stories like books. Have you never read like any fantasy book before? I can imagine Daru slowly insinuating himself into every corner of the internet. Until he becomes a godlike virtual presence that not even CERN can comprehend. Imagine he becomes an AI that travels the internet in the distant future. Imagine.
とにかくさ、君たちだけを見ればこんな未来ってないよね。だからなおさら私が IBN5100 を手に入れてきて未来を変えなきゃって思ってる。この時代に来るまでは君たちは遠い存在だったけど、今では仲間だしさ、なんとかしたいんだ。
助かる。お前はこれからも 永遠にラボメンだ。
Thank you.
Oh, an email. How long has it been since we have any emails to check? Actually, you know what? Let me check. I'm gonna check something like after this. I already told Carissa that I was confident in her ability to complete the time machine on time. Are you sure I can finish the time machine in a day? We still haven't found out our lifter substitute, remember? I can't complete the upgrade without it. Fuck. Wait, did nobody tell wait, am I understanding this right? Did nobody tell Carissa about the lifter being like the CRT 40-inch, like in like Braun Tube Workshop? Have we not told her this? Fuck. But it occurs to me that I forgot to tell her about the 42-inch CRT. Yeah! What the fuck? Our lifter is the 42-inch CRT downstairs. The electrical discharge phenomenon occurs when it's turned on. So don't worry about it. Just finish the upgrade. I sent a reply and decided to keep searching for the pin with Suzuha just a bit longer. Time is quickly running out. Is there anything more that we can do? It's early evening, but the roof of Radicon is still hotter than hell. When I provide Dado with the refreshing gift of Dr. P, a frown appears on his sweaty face.
ここはキンキンに冷えたカロリーゼロのコーラだろう。常識的に考えて。
I forgot he is a cola guy. No sense letting it go to waste. I drink the Dr. P myself. Well, suit yourself, man. You know what? We are worried about so many things like lately that we have to do. Excuse us for forgetting about that. Dado and Suzuha start discussing the time machine. Mayuri and I watch from a short distance away.
ねえねえオカリー、あの人工衛星がタイムマシンだったなんてびっくりしたね。
It's wild.
ああ、そうだな。
I thought that Taito's time machine was a car, a 1970s Chevy. It never even occurred to me to suspect the satellite. I should know better than to take anything for granted. In retrospect, the satellite was suspicious from the start. Not only had it appeared out of nowhere, but Taito only started posting afterwards. Yeah. I am disappointed in myself for not realizing the connection.
ビルに突き刺さっちゃってるけど、すずさんが無事でよかったね。
Yeah, I doubt it was anything like a crash. Probably just appeared there, displacing the wall, which then collapsed around it. After all, the time machine isn't self-propelled. It doesn't fly. Yeah. Which solves the thing that I was questioning myself, that if it came from the sky, then it definitely would have made like a lot more of a crash than this. So, yeah.
あれって操作がとっても難しいんだって。
I guess she heard that from Suzuha.
重力うんたらかんたら装置の座標がちょっとでもずれるとね、タイムマシンごとゼリーマンになっちゃってプルンプルンかなんだそうです。しかもね、あのタイムマシンってセルン製じゃないからあんまり安定してないって。1975年に行く時が心配だな。二人乗りだったらね、一緒に行ってあげられたのにね。
Well, that's an interesting option.
お前が一緒に行ってどうするのだ。
決まってるよ。すずさんの手をギューって握ってね。大丈夫、マユシーが一緒だから大丈夫だよって応援してあげるの。
You know what? Let me take a wild guess. Another hidden reason why you want to do that is to go back in time and see our grandma alive, don't you? Something tells me that won't be much help.
ね かり？あのタイムマシンって名前はついてるのかな？
名前か。
That's the list of what I want to know about the time machine. Time permitting. I like to spend a whole day picking Suzuha's brain. I'm pretty sure John Titor's time machine had a model number. But John Titor from 2000 might not have been Suzuha. There was no John Titor in 2000 on this world line after all. Although I suppose it's possible that Suzuha would drop by 2000 after traveling to 1975. Yeah, more than likely, because I think I said this before. It could be possible that Suzuha will grab the IBM 5100 and then will go to 2000 and then give it to Lukako's father, and there we will find the IBM.
気になるならタイターに直接聞けばいい。
ああ、そうだね。まゆしうっかりしてたよ。
Yeah, you go ahead and do that, young one. Mayuri giggles, then runs off to talk to Suzuha. She comes back quickly. Found anything interesting, young one?
名前あった。
どんな名前だったんだ？
FG204 なんとかなんとかだって。
FG? Oh my god, Future Gadget. It was created. Rintaro was involved in creating this one. Something.
っていうかね、ダルくんとすずさんって結構お似合いだと思わない？
Also, 204. If it's a Future Gadget device, then wait, Rintaro and the gang sure have been busy creating gadgets like over and over.
はあ？
I'm sorry, what? Don't you think Daru and Suzuha are a good match? Daru and Suzuha? Ooh. How come you say that? Mayuri is jumping all over the place today. Now look at Daru and Suzuha again.
お似合いか？ダルはそもそもフェイリス萌えなのだぞ。
Hell, I don't think I've seen Daru and Suzuha interact like once in this entire thing.
あ、そっか。そうなのかな。
She tilts her head to the side. Good grief. Mayuri and I aren't of any use. I would prefer to leave Daru and Suzuha to it and resume the search for Suzuha's father, while Mayuri seems happy just sitting here. We don't have any leads on the pin of it or its owner. Also, my apologies for keep bringing up the menu right over here. There's this weird thing that I do with my finger, like it's involuntary. Like sometimes when I go through this, sometimes my finger will touch the right mouse button, which brings up the menu. I don't know why. It just happens once in a while. Maybe 2 days just aren't enough. No, that's quitters talk. Like I told Suzuha, I don't want to give up. Wait, hold on. Well, why are we glossing over that topic right over here? Mayuri, why do you say that Daru and Suzuha are a good match? What is about them that you see? Besides, even if we don't get the information we need this time, I can use the timely machine to repeat these 2 days until we do.
そういえばマユリ、コス作りはどうした？
There's only a few more days until Komima. I remember Mayuri pulling all-nighters to get her costume done. Has that changed?
あのね、もう2着はできてるよ。楓ちゃんと吹雪ちゃんの分。
3着目はルカ子に来てもらうためのものだったか？
そうなんだけどね。ルカちゃんが説得できなかったから今回は諦めたの。ねえねえ、マユシーもタイムマシンもっとよく見てきていいかな。
Go right ahead.
誰たちの邪魔はするなよ。
はーい。
Mayuri beams happily, then runs over to the time machine. She's acting like this is a field trip. Behind her, the sun glows dark and orange on the horizon. It's quite a view from up here. After a few minutes watching the sunset in silence, I realized that Suzuha was standing beside me. She must have come over as Mayuri left. Our shadows are long and murky.
橋田至ってすごいね。タイムマシンさ、突貫工事とはいえ、うまくすると明日には直せるかもって。
ダルの実力は折り紙付きだ。
見た目は不摂生そうで冴えない感じなのにね。
見た目で判断するな。
考えを改める。さ、今言わないと機会を永遠に逃しちゃいそうだから言うけど。
なんだ、大げさだな。
私さ、君たちには本当に感謝してるんだ。初めてこの時代に来た時、私の知ってる人は誰もいなくて、戦ってばっかりだった私の時代とは全然違ってて、この時代の方がすごく平和なのにさ、なんだか私にとってはすごく怖かった。でもさ、今こうして自分の全てを晒せる友達、仲間ができた。私が生まれる前に生きていた人たちと出会えて、私のためなんかにみんな頑張ってくれてる。それってとっても奇妙で、だけどとっても嬉しいんだよね。その気持ちは本当だから。
Suzuha's tone is wistful. Why? I try to speak, but she continues before I can.
この時代に来ることができて、君たちと同じ時間を過ごせて、私本当に楽しかった。っていうか、君たちみんな揃いも揃って我が強くて、癖があっていろいろと濃すぎて、最初はなんだこいつらなんて思ってたけどさ、いつの間にか君たちといる時間が楽しくなってたよ。2036年はさ、とっても平和で喧嘩すら起きないんだ。知ってた？
知るわけがない。俺は2036年まで生きていないからな。
そっか、ごめん。とにかくさ、喧嘩すら起きない、およそ争いって名のつくものは、ミクロなものからマクロなものまで全部消えちゃった。その代わり、みんな死んだ魚みたいな目をしてた。誰も覇気がなくて、歩く足はズリズリってすり足で、笑いはするけど怒ったり悲しんだりはしなくて、個性なんて誰も持ってなかった。みんなロボットみたいだった。この前君が私にすごく怒ったでしょ。あの時さ、すごくびっくりして、すごくショックだったんだけど、同時にすごく嬉しくなったんだよ。
変なやつだな。
確かに。
Suzuha looks at the time machine. Daru and Mayuri are standing next to it, talking cheerfully about something or another. Which, again, it's kind of fucked up to think of it, that it... Once again. For wars and conflict to never happen, like, and all that... It's at the cost of individuality, meaning that for us to live in happier times, conflict is an inevitable thing. That at the root of humanity there is conflict, meaning that like by this interpretation there can never be like peaceful, well, no, there can never be joy, like truly living a life without some conflict here and there, which include wars and such. It goes to that whole mentality of how conflict is at the root of humanity as well, like no matter what. So no matter what, we're never gonna get rid of wars that happen once in a while. Or stuff like dictatorship or that sort of stuff. That at the root of all humanity, there's always gonna be like some evil balanced with some good. That, and even going beyond that, where there's stronger evil, there's always going to be stronger happiness and joy somewhere else. Except in this case, in Suzuha's future, that whole thing is sterilized. It is balanced to a T. No hatred or war, no sadness, well, no conflict, but at the cost of happiness. At the cost of freedom. Jeez.
君のラボに出入りしてるみんなは生き生きしててすごく眩しい。椎名真由里も橋田至も牧瀬クリスもそれに君も。
何をバカな。
There's nothing enviable about me. I am worthless. I can't even save my Yuri.
私もみんなみたいになりたいって思ったよ。
俺からすればお前こそすごいと思うぞ。
そう言ってもらえると嬉しいかも。こうして頑張れてるのも君たちと会えたおかげ。ほんのちょっとでもラボメンの一員になれてよかった。
She smiles then, a soft, sad smile that tears at my heart. What does it mean?
ほんのちょっとの間でも君たちと一緒にいられてよかった。
鈴葉？
岡部倫太郎、きっと未来を変えてね。今みたいな自由な世界に変えて。
おい、どうしたんだ。なぜそんなに感傷的なのだ。
Does she not want to go to 1935? But I mean, she's got a time machine, so can't she just come back afterwards? Well, on one hand, I would tell Suzuha that, you know what, you are free and you are allowed to tear up a little bit and smile at what you have right now. But at the same time, I would tell Suzuha to keep some of those tears, some of that smile for after we solve everything. And then cry and be joyful as much as possible, like after we are victorious. And then we can have the biggest party that we can have. But on the other hand, could this be her being sentimental because this would be the last time that we would meet her? Probably not. I mean, because okay, like on one hand, it makes me think that, oh, what does the time machine? Does this time machine can only go backwards? Does it never go in the future? But if I'm to think about my theory, she would eventually end up in 2000 in order to give the IBM to Lukaku's father, as I said before. So technically, she could go back to this time, right? Unless she thinks that unless she has friends and such. Well, by the looks of it, it doesn't feel like Suzuha's future is that bright in comparison to what she has right now. It doesn't feel like she really has that many connections and such in the future in comparison to right now, where she's so grateful that she even has friends like Rintaro and such to begin with. So it's not as if it doesn't feel like she has like any ties to the future where she has to go back to the future and thus no longer meet Rintaro like in 2010 like anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't feel like there's like any need for her to go back in the future where she's obligated to go back in the future and she can no longer come back over here. Thus it would be the last time that we would meet each other. So as far as I can see, there's no reasoning for me to think that we cannot continue to live together like in these times after our mission is done, right? Of course, when Suzuha completes her mission and brings us the IBM 5100, the roll line will change. I mean, okay, yeah, that is a good point, because technically speaking, if we were to if we were to like fix everything like in this fashion, that would mean the future that Suzuha comes from will no longer exist. Would that mean that Suzuha would cease to exist to begin with? Like once that happens, would that be possible? Can she? I mean, that's the thing. Like this, what Suzuha is doing right over here is literal time traveling with her physical body, completely different from what Rintaro and from what Rintaro went through. Whether we're talking about the time leap machine and the demo, she is literally physically coming to the past with her own body. So technically speaking, she could just remain here. Unless we're talking about the complete erasure of the row lines, in which case she would be erased as well in that process. You know, that whole mentality of how the timeline rearranges itself to be compatible with the actions of the past that have changed. I don't know. The future will be rewritten, and the 2036 she knows will cease to exist. To hear her describe it, the future is an awful place. But even so, it was her home. She has friends there, I'm sure, comrades in arms, and memories of her father, barrel tighter. Yeah, actually, you know what, that's a good point. She has some connections in the future, too. So, she would feel guilty of leaving that behind as well. All that would be lost to her forever. No wonder she's getting sentimental.
タイムマシンが治ったらまた盛大に宴会を開こう。
Thank you.
And yet, she's still smiling that sorrowful smile. Afterwards, I hit the streets again in search of the pin. But the day ended without a single lead, so I reluctantly returned to the lab and tried searching the internet. A couple of hours later, and still no luck. So far, I've accomplished absolutely nothing. My frustration is mounting. I can time leap again, but will that really help us find Suzuha's father? Who is it?
俺だ。
Hi, Mr. Okabe Rintaro!
Oh! So cool! Do you have like anything, mister? The voice is heavily accented. I can barely make it out. Who is this guy?
捨てるんか。
I jumped to my feet and scanned the room, then run to the window and checked the road below. No suspicious figures in sight. Kurisu comes out of the development room and gives me a questioning look, but I wave her back inside.
セルンとは何です?
I gulp and carefully choose my words.
名乗ってもらおう。
おたくはもうアフタヌーンうちのファクトリーに問い合わせに来てテレフォンナンバーを教えていったですよ。
お前は何を言っているんだ。
No, wait. I've heard this broken Japanese before. The strange Japanese filters through my brain, connecting synapses. That's right. It's that foreign street vendor I met this afternoon in Akiba. The one that I embarrassed myself in front of. With my broken English.
特定した。Nice to meet you.
Oh boy.
どういたしまして。私自主制作してます。Yesterday night ゲストが come here の思い出し。そのゲストがメイクプリンスピンバッジがユウが持ってきたやつとセームだったのよ。
I don't quite get what he's saying. He seems really excited about it.
今すぐそっちに行く。
I go to the same spot as before. Although his stand has already closed, the Westerner is waiting for me.
Oh, Okabe! Hello!
そのゲストとやらはどこ行った？
クライアント come here なのは yesterday なことよろしい。
The blue-eyed white man shrugs his shoulders. So it was yesterday. He contacted me because he remembered.
そいつの連絡先は？住所氏名は？
ドクです。ゲストはシミュレーションだけ。プライベートインフォメーションは nothing.
What? Poison? So last night someone came by wanting to make metal pins with the same design as Suzuha's. But he died of poisoning? I guess it was just a simulation. So there's no private information? I'm not following.
ジャパニーズやっとプライベートインフォメーションの重要さについてスタディらしい。過敏神経になったよね。
That doesn't help.
If ゲストがネームはテレフォンナンバー残っていったかよ。ノリーク、それがビジネス。
Fatigue suddenly weighs down on my shoulders. I don't understand a word he's saying anymore. My head is full of question marks. In hindsight, I should have brought Kurisu to speak English for me. I guess I'll just have to wing it.
そいつはどういうやつだった？男か？女か？
Well, so young or so middle. Japanese は顔ヤングね。ルックだけじゃ no understand.
特徴は？
特徴？やはり柔道 or プロレスラー？
なんだ？柔道？プロレスラー？それがどうしたんだ？
Boy, this is 100% relatable in like this kind of conversation where Rintaro is talking to a person that he just doesn't understand, is trying to piece things together. Except in my case, it's like sometimes when I have like random viewers of mine on my server and I met them in VC and they talk in this jumbled slash quick or their second language being English and not first, and like I'm trying to understand like what they are trying to say, either in my server or in other people's servers, and right, yeah.
Yes!
A part of me thinks that it is because the person who has this jumbled way of speaking slash their fault, or it is my fault that I can't pay attention to how people are speaking in the first place, that I'm wired differently. It's either one or the other sometimes when I think of that. That wasn't a yes or no question. What the hell do you mean?
Ah, balloon! Balloon だよ!
バルーン？柔道？プロレス？
Good!
No, not good. Are you trying to confuse me? I want to ask more questions, but the foreigner suddenly sees a policeman walking by and runs off. I consider chasing him, but decide against it to avoid police attention. I give up. The search has hit a dead end, and we have barely any time left to find Beryl Tyler. I don't know if I don't know. Should I consider this this person actually important and that we should ask him again, or is he useless? I don't know. Again, time leap again starting at 2 p.m. tomorrow. It looks like all I can do is wait until Christina's done working, and then leap to the time this suspicious character appears at the stand. Kurisu carefully connects the 2 cords she's holding.
完成。
The time leap machine is complete. It's 2:30 p.m. on the 13th. About 20 minutes later than before. Kurisu walks into the lounge with a satisfied look on her face. It's just her, me, and Suzuha in the lab. Hayataro and Mayuri head to Rarikan, ostensibly to work on the time machine.
タイムリープマシーンか。
Suzuha gazes at the now complete machine in awe. I've already explained to her how time leaping works. It's as different as it can be from Suzuha's time machine, which can physically displace actual bodies.
未来の記憶を思い出させるっていうのは面白いよね。
Suzuha crosses her hands behind her head and looks up at the ceiling.
空想とか、もしかしてっていう推測とか、あと直感、デジャブ。そういうのってさ、実際には未来の記憶を思い出してるのかもしれないかもってちょっと思っちゃった。
You know what? When you say that, Suzuha, it actually makes me think of this, and it's quite insane to think of it. What we see as us going back in the past using time traveling, from the Rintaro of the past perspective, like, let's throw the time traveling like out the window. From the Rintaro of the past, or anybody's past selves, you would not be considered time traveling, but rather seeing into the future, like future sight. If there were a case where somebody would actually be able to suddenly see into the future, it is actually somebody who is going back in the past with their memories. It is actually a time travel from the future that is disguised as future sight. That would actually be quite insane to think of.
2036年時点だと、記憶は世界戦艦の自分との情報伝達手段かもしれないって説もセルンの研究者から出てるんだ。
And if I'm to go down that path, thinking about it a little bit more, probably not something important to this, but might as well talk about this. Like, there are 2 options. Either you have the ability to see into the future, but it's not on purpose, in the sense that it only happens at random moments, meaning that it is only dictated by yourself from the future, who can time travel their memories into your current self to see the future events, that it is at random. And in the second option, that if it is something intentional, that you can just activate your ability to see, quote unquote, into the future, it would be that you are tapping into a roll line / attractor field / whatever, into an attractor field where your future self goes into the future. So you're tapping into a specific roll line / attractor field where you need information from a specific time in the future, meaning that it has to be at that point where your future self would use the time traveling machine. It's quite interesting to think of it. In which case, like, unless we are to think of there being like infinite roll lines, in which case you can just choose whatever, or sometimes your ability will work, sometimes it will not. It will depend on whether your future self would use the time traveling machine at that point or not. So, whatever. Okay, let's continue.
それと似たようなものなのかも。
I kind of need to go through this a little bit faster today. Let's make some progress.
岡部の力、リーディングシュタイナーがどういう仕組みなのか分かればいいんだけど、岡部だけの特殊能力なのか、それとも全人類がその資質を持ってるけど、岡部だけがたまたま より強い能力を持っていただけなのか。
I don't know. It's just, we never really tested with anybody else. And as I said before, there's just no way for us to know.
一つ確かなことがある。意識は記憶とともに過去へ飛んだ。
それがなぜなのかいまいち納得いかない。 D メールの時に岡部が体験したような状況と同じになってもいいはずなのに、記憶に意識は依存してるのかな。
意識って形として存在してるわけじゃないのが厄介だよね。魂も同じ。結局は宗教観に行き着く。2036年でもさ、魂の存在は証明されてないし、意識を形として証明した人はいないんだ。
そう、ちょっとがっかり。
意識が過去へ飛んだことで D メールに比べてより具体的に過去改変ができるようになったが、同時に収束する結果も存在した。
Again, it reminds me of that one time when I brought up the topic of Dan Brown's newest book, The Secret of Secrets, that involves noetic sciences, that has to do with the involvement of souls and such in science. I can change the method of Mayuri's death, but never the fact that she dies.
違うよ。未来は確定してる。
ならば過程が変化したのはなぜだ。
世界線が変動してたから。岡部倫太郎が過去へ飛んで本来とは別の行動をとったことでダイバージェンスがわずかだけど上下したはずだよ。でもその変動はダイバージェンスメーターで言うと 0.00001% 程度の誤差でしかないわけ。ちょっとしたことの場合、全く誤差が発生しない場合だってある。原因が変化することでさ、結果がすでに同時に存在している別の世界線へと変わっただけなの。しかもその2つの世界線は近似値だから変化なんてほとんど感じられないはず。
I guess that is a good point. Would it mean that... Okay, now it's getting confusing because I had my thoughts straightened up because of the whole divergence number being something that is more common to different attractor fields and the roll lines inside the attractor fields having the same number. So you're saying that they're not the same number, but at the same time they are. Like, it would be that exact same number, but the meter is not gonna notice that 0.0001% difference. So there is a little bit of difference, it's just that it's not drastic. Is that why reading Steiner didn't react?
変わる前の世界線は消滅したわけじゃなくてさ、可能性世界線として同時に存在し続けるんだよ。
その辺は多世界解釈なのね。
Yeah.
いずれにしてもパラレルワールドじゃない。
未来は再構成されていると。
そういうことになるのかな。
I'm confused again. Maybe it's impossible for me to fully understand the structure of the universe. It's... Even I'm not 100% sure at this point. Anyway, that's enough discussion. It's time for me to leap again. I explained the situation to Kurisu and have her activate the timely machine immediately. Yeah, might as well. I mean... Let's attempt it again. And now we'll have to go for this again and try to explain to Kurisu and Suzuha. It's the night of the 11th. I went back about 40 hours. Not 48 hours, okay? My objective is to keep watch on the street vendor stand in the hope that Suzuha's father might appear. I send Suzuha everywhere. I don't want her to be disappointed if I come up empty-handed. I'm standing on the side a short distance away from the stand, munching on energy bars and soy milk to appease my growling stomach. I've already been here for 2 hours. I forgot to ask for the exact time the suspicious character appeared, so I had to begin my stakeout before sunset. Okay. Now it's 8 PM and the stand looks like it's about to close. Is this another waste of time? Did that foreigner give me false information? I mean, at least I hope that he's not screwing with us. He must be genuine in his intentions and what he said. It's just that we barely even understood him. We only understood that, oh, I met this guy that was interested in this sort of stuff like yesterday, and that's all we got. Judo. Wait. Okay, maybe it's not as random as I'm thinking. Well, the poison part is still something that is weird, but what? We know that Suzuha is very physically she is strong in the sense that she can fight people like hand to hand. We've seen her in action too. I wouldn't be surprised if the father is the same. He is pretty good with judo or wrestling as such. Could it be possible that the foreigner right over here noticed Suzuha's father in combat with his enemies? That could be possible. No, don't tell me that Suzuha's father is actually Mr. Braun. I jump out of cover.
Gege, Okarin?
Huh? Daru jumps in surprise. But I'm the one who's really shocked here.
お前ここで何をしている？
その言葉、そっくり返すぜ。
The storekeeper is looking at us funny, so we decide to change locations.
それでダルよ。あの露店に何を頼もうとしていた？まさかタイターのピンバッジと同じものを偽造しようとしていたわけじゃないよな。
そのまさかであります。
Well, no, you're telling us. So that's what happened. Daru was the suspicious character the foreigner told me about. So all that stuff about judo, press wrestling, and balloons was referring to Daru's size? Wait, I guess. You know, if there were to have been made like some connection between Daru and these descriptions that the foreigner was telling us, maybe I would have made the connection beforehand. If instead he said sumo wrestling and balloons. Because instead I was thinking of Mr. Braun because of judo and pro wrestling, I guess.
紛らわしいやつめ。
Damn it, you know, it was all for nothing. Good thing I didn't bring Suzuha along.
しかし、なぜ偽造などしようと？
いや、偽造ってわけじゃなくね。
似たようなものだろうが。
つまりさ、転ばぬ先の杖ってやつ？もしも天音氏の親父さんが見つかんなかったらかわいそうじゃん。だからそん時は僕が作ったバッジを見せて親父さんはいたんだって嘘だな。
ぬか喜びさせるということか。
そういう言い方しなくてもよくね。世の中には2種類の嘘があって、ダメな嘘と優しい嘘があるんだぞ。
それは何のエロゲーから得た知識だ？
クラドナドナというエロゲーではなく、いわば人生と呼べるノベルゲーからです。ってやかましいわ。
Why do I get a feeling I've seen this screenshot before? Or at least like something similar to this, where somebody who is a big fan of visual novels would argue against somebody who wouldn't understand, and the visual novel is more seen as a hentai. And then Daru would be like, it's a visual novel that teaches you the meaning of life, you ingrate.
ダメかな。架空のタイターを作り上げる作戦。
Also, I guess to say out loud, even though it's pretty obvious, he is referring to Clown Out. I've read that a long time ago. And I really want to read it again, like one day.
そんなことをして鈴葉が喜ぶとでも思っているのか。
Dada's expression suddenly turns sad.
これ天音氏からは誰にも言うなって言われてるんだけど、オカリンには話しとくよ。
He's got a big mouth, as usual. Still, he seems that serious, so I better hear him out.
タイムマシンを調べていて天音氏から聞いたんだけど、あのマシンは過去にしか飛べないらしいんだ。
Damn it.
何？
I guess that surely explains the sentimentalism. Like if she goes back to 1975, she cannot go back to the future. Damn it. Here I was hoping that her time machine can go to the future as well. At first, but I don't understand what it means.
バカな。俺が知っているタイターのタイムマシンは未来方向にも飛べた。
実際に見たん？
見たわけじゃないが。
そもそもオカリンの言ってるタイターって2000年に現れたやつでしょ。僕はそんなタイター見たことも聞いたこともないけどな。
Yeah. I mean, that's partially why I was thinking that maybe it can go both ways, because of my theory that Suzuha will go back to 75 and then go back to 2000 and then boom, we got the IBN. Otherwise, what is she gonna do with the IBN? Let's say that's as I said before, she would hide it somewhere for like 35 years for us to find it. Unless she herself would have to live. Like, I mean, she really has no choice. She would have to live onwards from 75. Keep the IBN hidden. And then when the time comes, I guess so. I guess it makes more sense that she herself would live 25 years so that she would give it to Lukako's father in 2000 instead of hiding it somewhere. And that's right. The Tighter I Know and Suzuha aren't necessarily the same person. Although their time machines are similar, there are significant differences. For example, one looks like a Chevy and the other looks like a satellite. I don't know about the Chevy though. Unless...
じゃあ本当に
行ったら戻ってこられない。
それは例えば1975年に飛んだらどうなる？今の2010年には戻ってこられないのか？
戻ってくるには1975年から35年間をリアルタイムで生きないと。
Is he serious?
ということは鈴葉はタイムマシーンに乗って2036年に戻ることもできない。
だからさっきからそう言ってるじゃんか。
それはタイムマシンとしては欠陥品だろ。
そう、あのタイムマシンは未完成だって言ってた。
Incomplete? Incomplete!
セルンの技術をパクって天音氏の親父さんがこっそり独自に作ったものらしいんだけど、親父さんがセルンに殺されたせいで未完成のままなんだって。それでも過去には飛べるからちっとも問題ないって天音氏は笑ってたけどさ。
Oh wait, hold on a second, let me read that again. Her father built it in secret by reverse engineering CERN technology.
それは確かな話なんだな。
本人がそう言ったし、天音氏が嘘をついてない限りはマジだと思うよ。
The thing is, Daro, about what you said that it was incomplete, meaning that there was intention of creating a perfect time machine where he can go into the future. Is it possible maybe to upgrade the time machine ourselves to make it go into the future? But the thing is, we only have like 2 days to upgrade it, and we don't really have time. We barely even managed to make like the current time machine with Kurisu's help.
つうわけで今この時代にタイムマシンの修理が終わるまでに親父さんと会っておかないともう二度と会う機会はないかもしんないじゃん。
So that's why he was trying to make a copy of that pin, as evidence that Suzuha's father was here.
だがやはり偽造は良くない。嘘は嘘だ。
バレなければ
I waved out silent, massaged my temples. Need to think. What difference does it make? True, Suzuha might be sad about missing her father. That's not my business. My top priority is Mayuri's safety. That's right. I mustn't let my emotions control me. I need to be more rational, more logical. There's a Japanese proverb. He who pursues 2 hares will catch need. However, that sad smile on Suzuha's face. I understand what it meant. I feel something tighten deep within my chest. The next day, as night falls, I summon all lab mems except Kurisu to Radican. It's boiling hot on the rooftop, even in the evening. When I provide Daro with a refreshing gift of cola, his sweaty face lands up.
おお、オカリン。ここでキンキンに冷えたカロリーゼロのコーラの差し入れとか気が利きすぎだろう。
Yeah, we remembered. Daro happily takes the cola and chugs it straight from the bottle. Afterwards, Daro and Suzuha start discussing the time machine. Mayuri and I watch from a short distance away.
ねえねえオカリン、あの人工衛星がタイムマシンだったなんてびっくりしたね。
ああ、そうだな。
ビルに突き刺さっちゃってるけど、すずさんが無事でよかったね。あれって操作がとっても難しいんだって。重力うんたらかんたら装置の座標がちょっとでもずれるとね、タイムマシンごとゼリーマンになっちゃってプルンプルンかなんだそうです。しかもね、あのタイムマシンってセルン製じゃないからあんまり安定してないって。1975年に行く時が心配だな。二人乗りだったらね、一緒に行ってあげられたのにね。
お前が一緒に行ってどうするのだ。
決まってるよ。すずさんの手をギューって握ってね。大丈夫、マユシーが一緒だから大丈夫だよって応援してあげるの。ねえねえオカリン、あのタイムマシンって名前はついてるのかな。
気になるならタイターに直接聞けばいい。
ああ、そうだね。マユシーうっかりしてたよ。
Mayuri giggles, then runs off to talk to Suzu. She returns a few seconds later.
名前あった。 FG204 なんとかなんとかだって。っていうかね、ダルくんとすずさんって結構お似合いだと思わない？
I look at Daro and Suzu again.
ダルはそもそもフェイリス萌えだ。
そっか、そうなのかな。
She tilts her head to the side.
ねえねえ、マユシーもタイムマシンもっとよく見てきていいかな。
I nod, and Mayuri runs over to the time machine again. Behind her, the sun glows dark and orange on the horizon. As Mayuri leaves, Suda comes over to stand beside me. Our shadows are long and murky in the fading light.
橋田至ってすごいね。タイムマシンさ、突貫工事とはいえうまくすると明日には直せるかもって。見た目は不節制そうで冴えない感じなのにね。
A refreshing breeze blows by. It was quite hot a few minutes ago, but the temperatures finally start to drop.
さ、今言わないと機会を永遠に逃しちゃいそうだから言うけど。聞いてる？
After a moment's hesitation, I gave a little nod.
私さ、君たちには本当に感謝してるんだ。初めてこの時代に来た時、私の知ってる人は誰もいなくて、戦ってばっかりだった私の時代とは全然違ってて、この時代の方がすごく平和なのにさ、なんだか私にとってはすごく怖かった。でもさ、今こうして自分の全てを晒せる友達、仲間ができた。私が生まれる前に生きていた人たちと出会えて、私のためなんかにみんな頑張ってくれてる。それってとっても奇妙で、だけどとっても嬉しいんだよね。その気持ちは本当だから。
I have heard these words before. Just like last time, her tone is wistful.
あのマシンは過去にしか飛べないらしいんだ。
The truth I heard from Daro plays in my head in an endless refrain.
この時代に来ることができて、君たちと同じ時間を過ごせて、私本当に楽しかった。っていうか、君たちみんな揃いも揃って我が強くて、癖があっていろいろと濃すぎて、最初はなんだこいつらなんて思ってたけどさ、いつの間にか君たちといる時間が楽しくなってたよ。2036年はさ、とっても平和で喧嘩すら起きないんだ。知ってた？
I shake my head.
とにかくさ、喧嘩すら起きない。およそ争いって名のつくものは、ミクロなものからマクロなものまで全部消えちゃった。その代わり、みんな死んだ魚みたいな目をしてた。誰も覇気がなくて、歩く足はズリズリってすり足で、笑いはするけど怒ったり悲しんだりはしなくて、個性なんて誰も持ってなかった。みんなロボットみたいだった。この前君が私にすごく怒ったでしょ。あの時すごくびっくりして、すごくショックだったんだけど、同時にすごく嬉しくなったんだよ。
Suzuha looks at the time machine. Daru and Mayuri are standing next to it, talking cheerfully about something or another.
君のラボに出入りしてるみんなは生き生きしてて、すごく眩しい。椎名真由里も橋田至も牧瀬クリスも、それに君も。私もみんなみたいになりたいって思ったよ。こうして頑張れてるのも君たちと会えたおかげ。ほんのちょっとでもラボメンの一員になれてよかった。
She smiles then, a soft, sad smile that tears at my heart. And this time, I know what that smile means.
ほんのちょっとの間でも君たちと一緒にいられて よかった。
Suzuha obviously knew from the beginning that if she traveled to 1975, she could never return.
岡部倫太郎、きっと未来を変えてね。今みたいな自由な世界に変えて。
And the first time I heard her speak these words, I thought she was sentimental because she couldn't return to her original 2036. I was wrong. Forget about 2036. She can't even return here to 2010. Not without living 35 years. She'll be 54 when 2010 comes around. The present us and the present Suzuha can never meet again. Suzuha chose this mission. To change the future. To save Mayuri. Unless Suzuha travels to 1935, Mayuri will die. Damn. But then, what about Suzuha herself? When she leaves for 1975, she'll have to sacrifice everything she has here. How does she feel about that?
思い出を作ったことを後悔しているか。
どういうこと？
どうせ1975年へ行くのならば、この2010年において俺たちと仲良くならなければよかったと思ったことはないか。そうすればお前が捨てるべき生きてきた痕跡は一つで済んだ。お前は事実上2回自分の存在を殺すことになる。
もしかして橋田至から聞いた？
Suzuha frowns.
あいつもお前のことを心配している。
たく、誰にも言うなって念を押しといたのに。
どうなんだお前は1975年へ行くことについてどう思っている？
どうもこうもないよ。
Suzuha's expression suddenly hardens.
私は行かなきゃいけないんだ。それが私が選んだ道だし、父さんの意志でもある。
もし俺やダルが止めたら？
無視する。アットチャンネルでも言われた。私だけの考えで何億人にも影響を与えるような過去改変を行うとは何様だってね。でもさ、あんな未来にはなってほしくないから。私は君たちみたいに自由で笑い合って時には喧嘩もして争いがあって悲しい時もある。そんな人生を私が生まれた時代の人たちに送ってもらいたいし。
I mean, when you think about it like that, what rights do CERN slash the Committee of 300 have to change the future the way they want? If they play fire, then we have no choice but to play fire ourselves, in that sense.
未来を変えればきっと父さんも椎名真由里も君もセルンに殺されることなくなるだろうから。エゴかもしれないけど私は行く。
そのためならお前自身はどうなってもいいと。
何言ってんの？ 70年代だって悪くないよ。そこでまた君たちみたいな愉快な友達を作って自由に生きていくよ。
Just like that, Suzuha is back to her usual self. But despite her cheerful smile, I am certain that her resolve was forged from fear and doubt, the likes of which few can imagine. I was a fool to think that my words could sway her. Beneath the clear blue sky, the time machine comes to life. The adults' repairs are complete. Mayuri and I helped drain the last of the water out of the cockpit. The machine is still stuck in Radigan's wall, but that's a small matter. Daru gazes at the time machine with a satisfied expression. Mayuri is jumping for joy, and Kurisu, who ran over as soon as she completed the time leap machine, is visibly relieved. Meanwhile, Suzuha is struggling to attach her mountain bike to the time machine's exterior. She likes it so much she wants to bring it with her to 1975. Kurisu was worried that it might cause a time paradox. My heart is still heavy. Should I let Suzuha leave like this? I chide myself for the thought. It's not my choice to make. Suzuha isn't from this time. If she doesn't want to stay, then I have no reason to keep her from leaving. Suzuha finishes securing her bicycle and turns to us with a soft smile. It's not painful for a smile I saw yesterday. We don't perform a startup test. Activating the time machine would draw too much attention. So we're just going to wing it. Fortunately, we have the timing machine for insurance. The only regret is that we couldn't find her father.
みんな本当にサンキューね。なんてお礼を言っていいやら。マユシーたちのこと忘れちゃ嫌だよ。
俺なら僕とチュッチュしてください。
I mean, hope you have fun in 70s Japan, and I guess for that matter, 80s Japan, where the economy is at its peak. Although you may have to worry about the bubble, like bursting eventually, like late 80s and such. So, have fun while the bubble is unpopped.
変態は自重しろ。
The lab members pat Suzuha on the shoulder and offer words of encouragement, each in his or her own way.
そうだ、これ。
Suzuha offers me her father's pin. OSHM A7010. In the end, we couldn't decipher the inscription.
岡部倫太郎、これあげるよ。あのラボの片隅にでもいいからさ、置いといて。
I mean, the thing about this is this pin that we have right over here, no doubt, like I'm thinking it will become the pin that your father had at some point, whoever that father is. But what is the origin of this to begin with? Because now I see this particular pin as if it's in a time loop of itself. You, Suzuha, are giving us this pin for us to keep so that your future father will have it, and then your father will give it to you in the future, and then you, future Suzuha, will go back in time, and then you're gonna give this pin to us like over and over. The question is, where does it even come from? I have no idea.
お前
Is she regretting her decision to leave? Is this pin meant to be proof that Amane Suzuha was here with us in this time?
ピンバッジのことだけどさ。
Daru hesitates for a moment, then steps forward.
それと同じ図柄でラボ面みんなの分を作ったらどうかな。ラボ面の証つうか。
それすっごくいいかもだよ。
Yeah, might as well. Form the resistance little by little. It all starts with this pin that we all are gonna have.
珍しく気が利くじゃない。
なんかそういう使い方してもらえると私としては照れちゃうな。
つうわけなんで画像はもう撮ったし、そのバッジは天音氏が持ってってよ。親父さんの大切な形見っしょ。
うん、そうする。
I stay silent. There's nothing I can say. I could stop Suzuha from leaving if I tried. But unless she goes, I can't save Mayuri.
はいはいパンパカパーン。ここでマユシーから 重大な発表があります。
Mayuri suddenly raises her hands and calls for attention. As usual, she completely fails to sense the gravity of the situation. Though I suppose it's our fault for not telling her the truth about Suzu's time machine. In any case, she has my attention. What could her announcement be? Could Mayuri have found out that she is fated to die? I quickly glance at Karisu, but she seems just as confused as I am. And let me guess, she has found her father. Then what is it?
マユシーはですね、すずさんのお父さん見つけました。
What? I'm actually a bit surprised, even if it was just a guess. How did you find him?
は？
マジ？
Mayuri puffs out her chest proudly.
会いたいよね。というわけで、今日はお父さんに来ていただいてます。
Mayuri, I swear to God, if you're gonna point at either Rintaro or Daru, I'm gonna... I don't even know if I should believe you or not, even though in the back of my mind I have been thinking of such a crazy twist that suddenly somebody who is among us is actually Suzuha's father, future father and all that. I just don't really have like any evidence to point at anybody, but you better offer me like a good reasoning.
どこ？
Everyone, including me, starts looking around. Mayuri has us hook, blind, and sinker. I scan the empty event hall, but there's no one else here. Where could he be?
それでは発表します。すずさんのお父さんはドゥルルルルルルルルルルルルルルルル。
うお、セルフドラムロール？
じゃくじゃん。すずさんのお父さんは
Mayuri flashes Suzuha a grin.
ダルくんです。
She thrusts her finger at Daru. Our mouths drop. After awkward silence comes awkward laughter.
そのロジックはジョークになってないでしょう。そもそもこの変態が結婚なんてできるわけないし。
その言い草ひどくね？
いや、クリスティーナの言い草に全面的に同意する。ダルは30歳を超えて魔法使いにクラスチェンジするのが確定だ。
お前ら少しは自重しろ。でも事実だから反論できない。
Daru falls to his hands and knees, devastated. As for Suzuha herself, she clearly doesn't know how to react.
そもそも私の父さんこんなに太ってなかったよ。もうみんなダルくんに冷たいよ。
うわ、僕をかばってくれるのはマユシだけだよ。なんという天使。さては僕に惚れてるな。
Harsh.
マユシーの推理だとダルくんは絶対にすずさんのお父さんなの。
じゃあ聞かせてよ。どう証明したのか。
ピンバッジに書いてある文字のことをね、ずっと考えてたんだ。でね、じーって見てたら7010の7の部分がちょっと変だなって気づいて、これはね7じゃなくて2なんだよ。下の横棒がかすれて消えちゃってるだけ。
Oh, okay.
本当に？
Suzuha stares at the inscription on the pin again. I mean, yeah, that's true. So I was thinking you was At first, I was thinking it was an interesting looking P.
小さすぎてよくわかんないけど。
デジカメで撮った画像を拡大するとね、気づくよ。
2010って西暦のこと？まさに今年のことじゃない。
The year that the resistance was formed. Okay.
だったら最初のアルファベットは何を意味するんだ？
That actually makes sense. OSHM 7010. And that's what's inscribed on a pin.
簡単だよ。
Wait. Is it his name? I mean, H would be Hashida, but...
岡部、椎名、橋田、牧瀬。でもって、あまね。
Oh! It's the placement of each future gadget member. Like the 3 stars right over there would be like the others. They are not named here for some reason. It will be... It was right in front of us all along. We just didn't know where to look. Wait, so... One of them was... Faris. And another one was Lukako as well. And the last one would be... Shining Finger. I'm forgetting her name! I know that it's Kiryu, but I don't like calling her Kiryu. Like, what was the other name? How can I forget her name? Moeka, there we go. Fuck me, man. What is wrong with me lately?
これラボメンの頭文字じゃん。
2010年って言ったら何かなって考えたらね、ラボメンの年だって思って。
The year of the lab maps.
未来ガジェット研究所ができたのは今年だもん。
そういうことか。
でね、すずさんから聞いた未来の話には、オカリンとクリスちゃんの話は出てくるけど、ダルくんの話はちっとも出てこなかったでしょ？
それを言うならマユシだって。
Lara's observation startles me. It's an obvious thing to wonder about, but it strikes me too close to home.
マユシーはラボメンだけど、タイムマシンは作れないし、争い事も好きじゃないから。
No, the reason there aren't any stories about Mayu is because she dies in a few hours. Only Karisu, Suzu, and I know that, and we say nothing. Which, I guess in a sad way, kind of makes you think that because we don't really hear much about Mayuri, it's because Mayuri dies and there's just no hope for, like, a future for her no matter what. Although... I mean, it makes sense given what we know, that this pin right over here is made because of what happens today. Mayuri dies, the others were taken away, and then eventually the future gadget lab is formed more seriously as time goes on to fight against CERN up until 2036. So it makes sense that Mayuri is not that much mentioned by Suzu Hayate at all as somebody famous.
でもね、ダルくんはスーパーハッカーだし、オカリンの右腕だし、電話レンジちゃんだってオカリンとダルくんの2人で作ったんだから、名前が出てこなくちゃおかしいと思うの。
名前が出てこない。すなわち名前を偽っているっていうことね。
So you saying that he has like multiple like identities in the sense that Suzuha would know future Daro as this awesome guy, but he also has like the secret identity of the wizard hacker like outside. And Suzawa would not even know that the famous wizard class hacker is actually her father.
すずさんがいたレジスタンスを作った人の中にはオカリンとバレルタイターさんもいたんでしょ？
Which would make sense if he was Rintaro's closest friend, Daro, yeah.
で、2010年の秋葉にいた人でタイムマシンを独自に研究できる人でオカリンのリーディングシュークリームを
リーディングしたいな。
Reading spaghetti.
それについて知ってる人ね、ダルくんならぴったりでしょ？
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we are going with only the members that are listed on this pen, and the only members that we have right now, yeah, but what if it becomes a huge, like... I mean, Suzuha has not told us that much about the resistance, but you would think that the resistance would become something huge with, like, hundreds of people that would join the cause to fight against CERN. It wouldn't be just, like, us fighting against CERN and then that's it, right? So, I guess it wouldn't be that much of a surprise to think that this, like, Suzuha's father will be somebody else that comes in later. For it to be Daro,
確かに。
それにね、すずさんがお父さんと会おうとしていた日のこと覚えてる？タイムマシンオフ会に行けばお父さんに会えると思ったんだよね。
We know that because we tailed her. And Daro did want to go to that meeting as well.
ちなみにダル君もそのオフ会に行こうとしてたでしょ？
あれは日本 SF 史を語る上で重要なオフ会だったんだ、マジで。まあ天音氏の尾行ついでに潜り込めたからラッキーだったけど。
So that technically makes it true. If we're talking about Daro being her father. He did go there. I don't remember that. It must have happened because of the demon I sent. This is the curse of reading Steiner. Although I keep my memories from previous world lines, I don't acquire memories of events on new world lines.
父さんからそのオフ会の話を聞いたことがあって、子供の頃のことだからうろ覚えだったけど、とにかく行けば会えるかなって思ったんだ。
じゃああの会場で僕に会ってたらそれで解決だったって話？
どうかな。その時点では橋田至を父さんだとは認識できなかったかも。
Still, the evidence keeps piling up.
あとね、タイムマシンの名前 FG204 なんとかかんとかって言うんだけど、なんだっけ？
FG204 セカンドエディションバージョン 2.31。
そのネーミングセンスは間違いなくダル。
それに FG はね、きっとフューチャーガジェットの略だと思うんだ。
Yeah, that at least I figured out as well, yeah. So Suza's time machine. Is future gadget number 204?
最後に名前バレルタイターさんはね、ダルくんしか考えられないよ。
そういえば昨日の夜、まゆりからバレルの意味を教えてって聞かれたけど。
バレルはね、樽って意味なんだよね、クリスちゃん。
Oh my god. It is Daro! You motherfucker! Kurisu nuts.
タルダル
ダジャレ？
でねでね、すずさん、橋田至って10回言ってみて。
なんで？
言えばわかるよ。
橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る。
今、大太って聞こえなかった？
Oh my god. It is tighter.
聞こえた。
橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る、橋田至る。
マジで？
マジです。
Alright, well, ladies and gents, I do have an announcement to make right over here. I'm gonna be retiring as a detective right over here. Say hello to your new detective right over here, Mayuri. She's gonna be taking over the channel and she's gonna be doing the read-throughs from now on. So have fun, guys. I can't believe it. But with all this evidence laid out in front of me, I can't deny it either. Evan's jaw drops again. Only this time we're staring at Daro and Suzuha. Am I really that surprised that Mayuri had that in her to think so heavily about all these connections, all that? Not that surprised. It's in stories like this where you have like the typical DT-ish airheaded kind of goofy uwu cutesy nice girl that sometimes they're gonna surprise you with high intellect and such. I have seen that plenty.
とってもお似合いの親子だと思うな。
プラシーボ効果かしらね。言われてみれば二人が似てるような気もしてきた。
They do? Placebo effect, I guess. A placebo is something that seems like medicine but has no medicinal effect. When taken by a patient who believes it to be medicine, it gives them psychological stability. Despite placebos having no medicinal effect, there are cases where a patient's condition improves. Yeah. Oh wait, actually I do have a question. Naru, when did it get busy? You know what I mean, right?
お手柄だな。名探偵椎名真由里だ。
名探偵そんなこと言われたの初めてだよ。
She's such a ditz most of the time, but maybe she's more perceptive than anyone knows.
娘？天主が僕の？
Taro, wide-eyed, points at Suzuha while flapping his lips like a fish out of water.
父さん。
そういう時はパパと呼びなさい。
こんな時ぐらい変態はやめろよ。
父さん。
Suzuha tries to hold back her tears, but can't. They fall from her eyes and roll down her cheeks. Seeing this, Daro stops his joking and lets Suzuha speak.
私、来たよ。父さんに会うために。父さんが作ったタイムマシンに乗って。
うん。
父さんのやろうとしていたことを私が絶対やり遂げるから。
うん。
だから見ててほしい。
見てるよ。絶対見てるよ。
Suzuha walks up to Daro and hugs him gently. Daro, awkwardly but firmly, hugs her back. Father and daughter reunited across time. I'm truly glad we could bring them together.
ちなみに君の母さんは可愛かった？ロリ顔で背が小さくてだけど巨乳っての希望。
それは内緒にしとく。
When Suzuha finally steps away from Daru, she's smiling once again.
さてと、これでこの世界線への未練はきれいさっぱり断ち切れたから、そろそろ行くよ。
待て、もう行くのか。父親と積もる話があったりしないのか。
What am I doing? Suzuha's mind is set. I know that nothing I can say will convince her to stay. It's madness to even try. If she stays, Mayuri dies. I know that. So why am I trying to stop her?
私は大丈夫。きっと IBN5100 を手に入れてみせるから。
She looks at us with the face of a warrior.
未来を変えるのは君たちにかかってる。私は荷物をこの秋葉原に絶対持ってくるから。そして君たちに責任を持って託すから。お願い、未来を変えてほしい。
Nobody speaks. Nobody nods. We don't have the words. But she sees it in our faces. Resolve. Suzuha has entrusted us with our will and our mission. We meet her gaze, each of us, and silently swear to protect them to the end. The future Suzuha came from is not the future we desire. In Suzuha's time, Daru and I fought to change it. This time, we'll make sure it never happens. Mayuri will live. Kurisu will be free. Suzuha will grow up knowing her father. We must change the future, that all these things may come to pass.
それじゃ35年後に会おうね。君たちにとっては数時間後か。あ、そうそう。タイムマシンが時間跳躍するとき、紫外線光がすごいから直視しない方がいいよ。
With that final warning, Suzuha boards the time machine. She waves once, and then the hatch closes behind her. Moments later, the machine comes to life. A shrill alarm starts ringing. There are no other sounds. It makes less noise than I expected. People on the street below start shouting and cheering at the satellite's sudden activity. They all look up and point. That... Man, the worst timing ever! My phone vibrates. I quickly take it out and open it. The mail is from Suzuha. Can we reply back? Goodbye. When I failed to stop her on a previous road line, she sent me the exact same message before leaving. I guess now it's in a good way, but this time the word holds a completely different meaning. I lift my eyes from the message to see the space around the time machine begin to warp. A cocoon of light appears and envelops the fuselage. I squint my eyes against the brilliance.
Suzuha.
We will never see her again. Not this Suzuha. Yes, we can seek her out in our time. I know that I will make the effort. And it's the old Suzuha, that's for sure. I shall surely make her happy. But the next time we meet, an immense gulf of time will have divided us. No matter how hard we wish it were different, she would not be the girl we knew. All of a sudden, Daru takes a step into the light.
鈴葉、きっとまた会おうな。僕その時まで頑張るから。頑張るだなんてとっさにこんな言葉しか出なくて、自分のボキャブラリーの貧弱さが嫌になるけどさ。とにかく僕は頑張るから。鈴葉も頑張ってな。
His words probably can't reach her anymore. As the light grows more intense, I raise my hand to shield my eyes. Bathed in radiant particles, the cocoon slowly unfurls. The next thing I know, Suzuha's time machine has vanished into thin air, leaving a hole the size of a dump truck in Radican's wall. The air is thick with the smell of ozone, and it seems to pulse softly where the machine stood. We stand there for a while, staring silently at the empty spot while the summer breeze blows gently past, as the wind were fate itself. Unfortunately, we don't have time to mourn her departure. In about an hour and a half, Moeka's group will attack the lab. Alright, and I'm back. And I come back with some thoughts that came to mind in the meantime. After Suzuha left and went back in the past in 1975 to get an IBN, the thought occurred to me that we haven't met old Suzuha up to this point. The Suzuha that would live 35 years up to this point. And there's also the questioning of why would Suzuha give Lukaku's father the IBN just so he would give us the IBN 10 years later? Why is that Suzuha couldn't have given it to us like directly? Well, the thought occurred to me that there could be the possibility that Suzuha is no longer alive by this point in 2010. The Suzuha that went in the past and she would live like 35 years, it could very well be possible that she died. Or more specifically, she foreseen her dying at some point, so she had no choice but to give it to Lukaku's father. She could have, if she wanted to, she would have given it to us directly in 2010, but instead she had to give it to Lukaku's father, because otherwise the IBN would have been lost. It could be that she saw that CERN / the Committee of 300 was after her, so she had no choice but to do that. And it could be that she died. The reason why we don't see her in this, yet, her old self. But there's also, the more optimistic view in this is that she could still be alive. It's just that she was forced to run away from CERN / the Committee of 300. More specifically, maybe she ran away from Japan, but she had no choice but to give it to Lukaku's father so that he would give it to Rintaro 10 years later while she was on the run. So she could still be alive. There is that thought that came to me. Before that happens, we need to acquire the IBN 5100 that Suzuha went to in 1975 to obtain. The time machine's sudden disappearance has thrown the area into chaos, which makes it easy for us to slip out unnoticed. See you in 35 years, Suzuha said. 54-year-old Suzuha should be in here in Akiba. Before she left, we decided that the time machine's disappearance would be her cue to bring the IBN 5100 to the lab. The time machine's disappearance would be her cue to bring the IBN to the lab. Like right now. But when we return to the lab, there's no 54-year-old woman waiting for us. It seems Suzuha hasn't come yet. Kurisu gasped for breath while Mayuri calmly munches on a banana. As I check the lab for any sign of Suzuha, a line of red numbers catches my eye. The meter reads 0.337187. Divergence hasn't changed. Reading Steiner didn't activate this time, so I suspected that might be the case. Let's think this through. I thought that divergence would change the instant Suzuha obtained an IBN 5100 in 1975. I mean, we are still in the exact same roll line / attractor field, so again, now we have a new example of somebody else doing the time leaping / time traveling. In this case, well, it is time traveling because she is traveling with her body as well. So that would mean that only she herself would move somewhere else in a row line with a different divergence number. We are still in the exact same. So I think this would be a perfect example of how this isn't a matter of timeline reconstruction, but rather jumping from one place to another. So, I don't know, unless we're talking about a fated thing that, okay, this was Suzuha going in the past, is a fated thing to happen. It's just that it may be possible that Rintaro needs to do something else on his side so that we would get the IBN. It's just that now we are fixed in a attractor field where no matter what, Suzuha will go back in the past to get the IBN. So the only thing that we need to do is change into a different attractor field, change the divergence in a way that we are in an attractor field where Suzuha would go back in the past, and we would also do something else in order to get the IBN, because otherwise we're still here. But then, like, it's difficult to think of it this way because we are in a different role line. It's just that up until this point, the point of convergence is going to be the same no matter what. So, but maybe there's something else that needs to happen. Yeah, but will it change the instant Suzuha hands me the IBN 5100? It will change once we save Mayuri. But in order to do that, we need the IBN. Or will it change when we use the IBN to delete my email from CERN's database? At any rate, all we can do now is wait for Suzuha to arrive. Cause up until this point, the way that it works is that we jumped from one place to another with a different divergence. For the same role line to change with a different divergence, that sounds kind of different from what we did thus far. Unless we're gonna have a situation where we do this specific action, we save Mayuri, and then we are not gonna notice it, but we are gonna change, all of us, we're gonna change into a different role line with a different divergence. The difference being that we all are gonna change, instead of just Rintaro up to this point. It's kind of hard to explain this. I don't know.
今はさ、鈴葉は54歳になってるわけっしょ。
After catching his breath, Daro speaks.
自分の娘が30以上も年上になってるのって見たいような見たくないような変な気分だお。
Christ, to imagine that Daro is a father. Man.
それどころか結婚してもう孫がいてもおかしくないわね。54歳なら。
I mean, not to sound like a mean bastard right over here to say that, oh, Daru doesn't deserve love or anything like that. No, it's just like, you know one person one way, and then the next day you're gonna find out that that person is their father. That would blow your mind, like, if you ever experience something like that.
つまり僕はこの年にしてひ孫の姿を拝めるとどんな顔していいかわかんねえ。
ひいおじいちゃんらしくドーンって構えてればいいと思うよ。
Oh my god. Imagine, what if Lukako's father is Suzuha's husband, and by extension Suzuha is Lukako's mother. I get I don't remember the words exactly, but from the conversation it did sound that it came from somebody, which would contradict what I said, because otherwise he would have said, this is something that came from my wife. But then maybe he was told by his wife to say, hey, if somebody comes to you about the IBM 5100, tell them that it came from a stranger, not from me. Maybe. But then what would be the reasoning for that? I mean, it's a matter of secrecy when it comes to time traveling, because by this point, Rintaro would try to find the IBM 5000 long before finding out about Suzuha's true nature. And he would find out from Lukako's father that, oh, Suzuha is his wife, and then be like, What? That doesn't make sense. Suzuha is 16 or something. So it's a matter of keeping a secrecy up to the point that Rintaro would find out the true nature of Suzuha as a time traveler and such. So that would be the reason why maybe Suzuha would try to keep it a secret and say that, and Lukaku's father would say that it came from a stranger rather than his potential wife.
ひいおじいちゃんって言わんでくれ。
Oh, a knock on the door interrupts their idle chatter. I don't know, that could be Suzuha, but do I really want to think of the possibility that this time CERN are being a bit more polite? They're knocking on the door, and then they're gonna bash in through and then take everybody hostage? Is that really possible? It must be Suzuha. Everyone looks at me with a strange mixture of anticipation and anxiety. I slowly open the door. Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh, Okabe.
My Suzuha, you surely have grown quite muscly. Instead of an old man. Oh, instead of an old woman, we get a wall of muscle. Mr. Braun, do you... You never really told us about your wife. How is she like? Our disappointment is palpable.
なんだあなたか
なあ、うちのバイト来てないか
Mr. Braun peeks into the lab.
すずさんならね、35年前。
シャラップ、まゆり。
Kurisu covers Mayuri's mouth.
なんか知ってんのかあいつどこ行ったんだよここ数日ずっと休みっぱなしで次にいつバイト出るかわかんねえんだよな携帯に電話しても繋がらねえし
We don't have time for this, but I can't just order him to leave. Not unless I want another cracked skull.
彼女は実家に帰ると言っていましたよもうここには来ないでしょう
何そうなのかあのガキ雇い主である俺には一言もなしか
The future is changing. Isn't this proof? Oh my god. Now imagine the possibility. As I was saying about Lukaku's father being the husband, what if Mr. Braun right over here is Suzuha's husband? And by extension, Naya would be Suzuha's daughter. Oh my god. I mean, you know, I can see it in the eyes a little bit. On my previous sleeps, Mr. Braun never came by the lab. It must be related to Suzuha's trip to 1975. Surely it's a good sign. Now, as long as the attractor field doesn't amend history again. Mr. Braun sighs and turns to me with a serious expression.
まあいいわこうして訪ねてきたのは岡部おめえに用があるからだ
Yes?
俺に
He hands me an envelope. It's addressed to Okabe Rintaro, but there's no stamp or postmark. The name, Hashida Suzu, is written on the back. Hashida Suzu!
これは
前に俺が世話になった人からの手紙だ今日お前に渡してくれって頼まれてた
The lady who used to own this building, my god.
え誰だ
おめえこそすずさんとはどういう関係なんだ
Suzu-san. Suzu-san. Of course. The name on the back reads Hashida Suzu. Hashida is Daru's surname.
この女性は今どこに
いや10年前に亡くなったが
Hmm.
亡くなった
Yeah, I thought of that possibility. So, okay, are you saying that you actually... Did she tell you to wait 10 years to give me this envelope? She's dead? Wave of distance nearly sweeps me off my feet.
いくつぐらいの人だった
50は超えてなかったな
The age fits.
渡してくれて感謝します ミスター・ブラウン。
Man.